Come on. 4, 3, 2. Last one. There you go. So as you just saw, that was the beginning and end of the 100K row I did on May 23rd. It was very long and was pretty tough overall in terms of, especially at the end, I got very fatigued. I guess the question is, like, what happened in the middle between all of between those two videos? And while there was a live stream, you know, it probably deserves an explanation of, like, I guess everything that happened. Two big things: I watched 2 movies. Watched Avatar for the first 2 hours and 40 minutes, and then watched 21 Jump Street for the next 2 hours. So the Avatar took me from like 100K to 60K left, and then 21 Jump Street took me from like 55K to 30K left. I listened to music a bit during the in between when my headphones were charging, so I just had music on the speaker. And the last 2 hours I had music either through my headphones or when those died through this through my phone speaker. I had planned to watch another movie during these last 2 hours, but I ended up needing to focus a lot more during those last 2 hours, so I ended up not watching the movie I planned on watching. As again, the whole plan was, you know, 10 by 10K. As you can see, you can see some of the breaks I guess I took. I don't know if these exactly correspond to the breaks, but I think they correspond for the most part. But I took a break every 10K for about a minute, and you know, and during that minute I had these Stinger waffles that were, I guess, my main energy supply. Besides that, I had Gatorade chews that I took every 2K starting 1K in. So, you know, 99K left, 97, 95, 93, 91, 89, and so on and so forth. Within the, you know, the waffles in between or at the 10K marks. The biggest thing was I downed water a bunch. I downed water during those minute breaks. When I also started doing one at every 6K mark, it's like 96, or I guess it started more at like 86K left. I think that's what this is. But I started doing a bunch of, oh yeah, actually this is the 86K left mark. But that's when I started to also down water then, because I realized that being hydrated was going to be a very important thing for getting through the whole thing. So I started adding those other breaks to incorporate getting the extra water I knew I would need. But the big thing that happened was, so about halfway in, I felt fine. I remember vividly looking over at my dad, because he'd walked in at this point, and asked me how it was going. I looked over him, smiled, and said, "It's going great," and that we're cruising, type of a thing. So that was good, considering, you know, I was over a marathon in. I felt fine. It really started to hit about 50 or about 40K left. Was when it started to get really tough. And then, so the 40K left to 30K left mark was pretty tough. I don't know exactly where that is on here. That's probably, oh wait, that would be 4 hours in would be 60K. Yeah, so it should start, yeah, around here. As you can see, I'm at like 159s. So that's when I was struggling a bit. But then once I got to 30K left, it's about here. As you can see, I sped up a lot, and I felt pretty good. So the 30K left to 20K left mark felt pretty good. But then once I hit 20K, I started to fade more. So as you, yeah, I think you can see here. Yeah, yeah, I was going a lot faster here, and then yeah, right here, I think this is 30K left. Then it's, or wait, yeah, so I started getting faster here, and then once you hit once we hit like the 20k left mark, I start to progressively slow down again. Especially like the 5k left mark was really tough before I brought it back a little bit. But yeah, as you can see, I started. These were the only splits like below or slower than 2. Like the last, what is that, 20 minutes? Yeah, it's kind of rough. Looking back at that, wow, that was really rough. But yeah, once we hit 20k left, it was survival. I will never forget in my mind at 10k or 20k left being like, you just got 20k left, like you're almost there, and hitting 10k left and being like, you're basically there. And like, since when is 10k almost there type of a thing? And so that was a really weird thought to have. But I think the biggest thing that happened was, so at that 40k left mark, when it started to get rough, I got really queasy. So I stopped having the energy waffles in between or during my minute breaks at that point, because I was pretty sure I couldn't keep them down. I stopped having to choose as much also. I still had some, but not nearly as many as I was having before, because again, I was a bit queasy. The queasiness went away a bit later, but then it definitely impacted, I think, that last 10k, because I was running, about 30k-ish on nothing, or far less than I've been running before. So definitely started to fizzle out a bit there. Overall, don't regret not stopping snacking at that point, because I think if I had kept snacking, I would have felt worse, which would, I think, have either made me stop, or I don't know what I would have done, but it would have been bad. And in the end, I was able to hobble through the finish line. So I definitely don't regret that decision, but looking back on it, that was definitely why. And I think I realized that during the piece, but was a very long erg. Looking back on it, I don't know how I made it through this whole thing, because that was very long. But overall, I think it was a good experience. Definitely started to space out at some points in terms of just like, I don't want to say not focusing, but you kind of just like zone out a bit, and you almost become an observer on your own body type of a thing. And there were many moments where I'd written some motivational things on the board, and those helped carry me through it. When I had like 3 hours left, and I was like, oh man, it's so far. But those things carried me through it, and was a good experience, I guess. I did what I set out to do, which I was very happy about. There were times when I think about halfway, and I was pretty sure I wouldn't be able to hold on because I was on pace and everything was good. But later on, I was like, wow, how am I going to survive, another 30k of this type of a thing? Because even like a tenth of the way there, or a tenth left, you still 40 minutes. There's a lot that can go wrong in 40 minutes. So I wasn't there until I was there. But it was a fun piece. I don't know if there's anything else to talk about. Oh, the biggest thing, yeah, since I was so out of fuel at the end, after I finished, I basically just sat on a couch for 3 hours. I had some milkshakes, and I had the rest of the energy waffles. But I iced some areas, but I had a bunch of blankets on me too, because I was in such a calorie deficit that my body was getting really cold, and I needed to ice to like help recover, so that was not helping things. So I had a lot of blankets on, and then ended up feeling much better the 3 hours later, had dinner and stuff afterwards, but ended up being really chafed, but that's healed pretty quick over the next few days. Luckily, I didn't notice the chafing during the event, because that would have made it a lot less enjoyable, and I don't know how I've gotten through it feeling the chafing the entire time, but was a good experience, and I don't know, proud, I guess, to be the first person, or the first 19 under to go sub 2, I guess, and proving it can be done. So overall, I guess I don't really know if I have anything else to say. Average heart rate is 147, but definitely, if anyone ever wants to try this, recommend always at least do a marathon beforehand. Like, I've done 2 marathons, I think. This was, I think, harder than my marathon, but Obviously, I guess it was way longer, but definitely need to be prepared for it, and think about it smartly, and be confident in your aerobic base and being able to go through it. Because once you start it, like once you get halfway in, you're in it for the long run because you've already put so much energy into it, that it's kind of a bit late to bail. So takes a lot of investment. But now all my pieces are sub 2. So I guess that's everything. Make sure we'll still be making more vlogs, so keep watching.